Hey, best friend. Happy 2025. If you are listening to this on the day that it's posted, it is New Year's Day. And I love New Year's Day. I just wanted to take a moment with my besties today to really reflect on some of the biggest lessons that I've had this year and share some unconventional, maybe powerful ideas for you to achieve some of your goals in 2025. Because this is when people set goals. And if you're that bestie that is also like, I don't even do it anymore because I never follow through. All right, well, I've got some ideas for you too. So, this isn't really about resolutions. This is about creating a mindset and approach that helps you thrive no matter what comes your way. And if you listen to this, if you hang out with me, I bet that you want that too. Now, this year has been a ride. It has been an amazing, amazing year. And the reason that I wanted to do this podcast is I think that some of my lessons and reminders can also be powerful for you too. Maybe they're reminders for you. Maybe you've already learned some of these lessons, but my brother, who's a Navy SEAL, and also, by the way, has an incredible podcast. If you've never listened to it, it's called the Impossible Life Podcast. I'll link it in the show notes. It's more for my bros, not women listen to, by the way, because it's awesome. But I will say that if you have a man in your life that you're like, hey, listen, I think that you could just really benefit from some personal growth, you just send them that way. So, anyways, just like went on an offshoot there. Back to the program. All right, so the reason that I'm talking about this is really because I think that I've had some lessons and some reminders of this year that are probably great lessons or reminders for you too. And I've got some ideas for you to achieve your goals, for you to hit those things that you've been trying to hit, maybe for many years, or it's a new goal for you. But let's hop in because if you're my best friend, which you are, I would be sitting over coffee and I would want to know what were the greatest things that you learned this year? What are the greatest things you were reminded of? And so I'm going to share mine with you. Are you ready? My first one is, and no, this is not going to be a shocker for anybody, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. If you don't know already, gratitude truly rewires your brain to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. It rewires your brain to focus on what's good in your life instead of the things that aren't going as planned, instead of the things that suck. I don't know about you, but I would rather my life be full of great feelings. I would rather my life be full of gratitude. Every night I go to bed thinking about the things that I'm grateful for. And this is true because I want my brain, your brain, and I've mentioned this in a previous podcast, but your brain changes wavelengths prior to going to bed. So it's really when your brain and waking up. That's the brain, that's the time when your brain is the most malleable, if I can call it that way. So I'm thinking about the things that I am grateful for, the positives in my life. And I do it first thing when I wake up. I'm like, thank you. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you that I have these children, that I live in this house, that I live in this country, that I get to go do what I love. Whatever it is, I am really focused on gratitude. Interestingly too, if you are struggling with feeling low in your life, there was an article that came out by the Journal of Positive Psychology about 5 years ago, and it really talked about how when we practice gratitude, it increases happiness and it reduces depressive symptoms. Well, that makes sense, right? Because what you're doing is creating more and more good in your life. Do it. Do it. Just do it. I don't know if you've ever seen the, what is it? Shia LaBeouf video where he's like, just do it. I'm linking in the show notes. Just do it. That's how I feel right now, is just add gratitude to your life. I don't know. I can't belabor this point, this lesson, this reminder anymore. Just do it. And if you like to write things down, you can have a gratitude journal. There's apps. You can put it in an app. I would just so encourage you to at least come up with 3 things that you're grateful for every day. And by the way, especially if you live in America, we have an exorbitant amount of things to be grateful for. So, I'll just leave that one there. Next, things can still be beautiful even when they don't go as planned. If you've been listening, if you've been hanging out with me, you know that my birth story did not go as planned. Even getting to the arrival of Bowden in my life did not go as planned. I prayed that God would open my womb for about 9 years, really. And finally, thankfully, God did. And Bowden came into my life. But I planned to have a home birth, people. And instead, I had a C-section. Things did not go as planned. But I have the most beautiful, wonderful, precious little cutie cutums of a little boy. And it is so beautiful. And by the way, I have a reminder on my body, a big one, not a pretty one, a big one, a big scar of how things didn't go as planned. And yet, it is still beautiful. You have to be flexible, friend. You have to be flexible. You have to, and by the way, this is a choice. You can look for the negative. I could still be in a really negative headspace about my C-section. In fact, here's the truth. In fact, last night, I did some release work on emotions that I was like, all right, they're still there. Like I'm dealing with some stuff with my scar, and so I was like, man, am I storing or am I harboring emotions that I don't want to have? And lo and behold, I still was. And I'm saying this to you because I'm human. I'm human like you. I'm not some super person that's figured everything out in the whole world and I never have negative emotions. No, I have them. And so anyways, I did release work related to my C-section scar, and lo and behold, I was still carrying some negative emotions that were there. I say that to say, in spite of that, things are still beautiful. You have a choice, friend, to focus on the joy in midst of the imperfection. You have the choice to be flexible when things don't go as planned. You can either be rigid, root yourself in, go, it didn't go as planned, and I'm angry about it, or I'm frustrated, or I'm disappointed, or I'm sad, or I'm whatever. Or I encourage the or you go, all right, well, it didn't go as planned. And look at what came out of this. Look at what came out of this. I could keep going, but I won't. Next, write your dreams out. What's really interesting, and maybe I'll talk more about this in the future, but we have this little tiny piece in our brain called our reticular activating system, which is our RAS. And when you put your dreams on paper, it actually helps focus the mind to achieve those dreams. Write your dreams out. I haven't ever achieved anything that I haven't written down. Now, I've also written down things that I haven't achieved yet. And I am still focused on achieving those goals, achieving those dreams. Write your dreams out. And then, if you really want to up the ante on writing those dreams out, pray on them, meditate on them, create clarity and purpose in your life. The more that you think about something, the more that you focus on something. By the way, what it does is really it gets in deep, 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 deep in your unconscious mind. And when it's deep, deep, deep in your unconscious mind is working to help you achieve, become what you want to achieve, be who you want to be. So, friend, you must write it down and then up your ante. Pray over it on repeat. Pray over it. Meditate on it. Remind yourself. Write it down. Your goals, your dreams, and I have all my clients do this. We create my coaching clients, anyways. We create what's called an avatar, their future self, who they're going to be, not who they are right now, who they're going to be. I have an avatar. I review it every day, because I want to become that person. I pray over it. I think on it. It's deep in me of who I am. You must do this. Akin to gratitude is lesson number 4, which is positivity is a choice. Just want to let that one land. If you listen to me, I talk about this. It's one of the core values of the Lashua family is positive attitude. It's funny, sometimes this is totally just completely silly. This is a side note, because I would side note with you if we were together. my little nugget, whenever he starts to fuss, my husband will be like, "Excuse me, Bowden, attitude check." And obviously he can't understand that at all. Can't understand it, but it makes me giggle. So back to positivity being a choice. I don't know if you know this. I talked about it in the neuroplasticity episode, by the way, that positivity is linked to neuroplasticity. You can train your brain to focus on the positive. You can train your brain to change lanes. Now, friend, I am not sitting here telling you that this is easy, but what I am telling you is that it is possible, but you must train. I think sports are always great. If you played sports ever in your life, you know that you needed to practice and some effort to be good at it. Well, this you had to, if you hopefully most of my listeners drive. I don't know, unless you're super bougie and somebody drives you everywhere, but hopefully you learned to drive before you got to a place where somebody drives you everywhere. Well, my point is that you actually had to learn, you had to practice in order to become a good driver. You have to practice positivity. And if you suck at it, it's going to take you a hot minute to get there. It's going to take you a hot minute to get to where positivity comes to you a lot more naturally than negativity. That's okay. Whenever you're negative, as soon as you remember, as soon as it connects to be positive, go back to that moment and be positive. Man, so this one is so near and dear to my heart. And it is really, I've got little people, hope to have more little people. And it's that these young years are so special. If you have little people, or if you've ever had little people, or if you want little people at some point in the future, you need to remember this. These little years are so special and they go by so fast. Bowden turned 7 months just a couple of days ago, and it feels like a blink of an eye, just a blink where I was in the hospital giving birth. And he's already 7 months and he's already walking around my house in this little Batman car walker and crawling everywhere and getting into stuff, and about to have to baby proof my whole house, but that's neither here nor there. These young years are so special. My daughter is just so precious. She's almost 6. She'll be 6 in March. And mommy and daddy have hung the moon, truly. And she'll come snuggle up to me and she'll tell me that I'm her precious mommy, things like that. And I just die on the inside in the best possible way. Like, okay, Lord, this is the best. Just you can take me now. That would be fine. And these years are so special. And I even think about, like, I personally have to challenge myself because my brain's always like, all right, let's do this, let's do that, let's make something happen. I've even been on a break from, I teach, so I've been on a break from teaching. I haven't really even been seeing many clients, anyways. And I'm in this place where I want to create. When I push those aside, my brain's like, cool, I've got all these ideas for you. Let's do this thing. Let's create. Let's whatever. And I have to go, you know what? More important than creating something for my brand is coloring with my daughter, is um, putting the little car on the Paw Patrol race car track and letting it shoot off at the end and seeing how far it can go and seeing if my car can go further than her car, vice versa. These young years are so special. There's going to be a moment. I know it's going to happen. I don't look forward to it, where she'd rather be with her friends than be with mom. And we're not there yet, but it's coming. And so this is my reminder to myself, and hopefully to you if you have little people, that life changes. We don't have what we have forever. And really put your phone down. Mom, put your phone down. Unplug, on Sundays as a family. Um, we spend time snuggling, and maybe we watch shows, which I'm okay with because we're snuggling and we're together as a family. But put it down. Put the phone down. It's so easy. I mean, I'm like you. I'm a friend. I'm like you. I can be doing something, and then all of a sudden, I'm mindfully scrolling on Instagram or something like that, and not being present with my daughter. And this is where I go, all right, friend, we got to put the phone down. So, can you just agree with me? If you're watching me right now, my lash is stuck. Um, can you just agree with me to put the phone down? These young years are so special. Next is a good reminder. So far, these are like reminders for me. Friendships, intentional friendships are key. And again, if you're anything like me, life feels like it's moving sometimes at warp speed. There's so many things going on, so many things going on. And in the midst of things going on, it's so easy to just go, man, yeah, I'm just so busy. I'm just so busy. And I almost refuse to say that because I think sometimes Americans say busy like it's a badge of honor. And it is not a badge of honor to me to be busy. And to really make sure that I find time not find time, excuse me, I'm correcting my own wording, and that I make time for my friends, that I create the kind of friendships that I want to have. And I'm not a huge texter. Uh, my husband is my best friend, so I talk to him all the time. I live with him. I look at him. He's really good looking, so I like to look at him. I like to talk to him. And I don't necessarily have that, like, oh, I need to text so and so. And that's not because I don't love them. It's my brain just is like, oh, they're doing whatever. They're not right in front of me. And I have to be intentional. Sometimes I set reminders on my phone to go, all right, I need to text so and so. I need to make sure that I check in on them. They're a priority to me. When can I get them on my schedule? And sometimes that's 2 months away from when I actually want to see them, or when I wish we could get together, given both of our schedules. But in order to have it, I have to be intentional about it. And I want the people that are close to me to feel like I love and value them. So intentional friendships are key. And by the way, there is so much research that talks about the power of community, the power of people in our life, that what that does is it adds richness, it adds life, it adds joy, it adds happiness to our life. uh, even lengthens the years that you have in your life by having rich friendships. I want to encourage you, if you've sucked at being a friend this year's your year. This year is your year. So I just want to encourage you. Next, memories over things. Bestie, if you live in America, we've got all the things. We've got more things than we know what to do with. It's like, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to say this. Between the things that, and we don't do Christmas exorbitantly. There's just no, in my mind, there's just no need. But between like what we got for my daughter and my son, and by the way, the only reason that I got my daughter or my son all the, filled a stocking and did all the things is because my daughter believes in Santa. And if Santa did not show up with all the things for Bodhi too, she would wonder why Santa didn't do that. And that would, because she's a sweet baby, and that would ruin the joy of Christmas for her, because why didn't Santa love her brother too? Why didn't, she's a good boy. And, why didn't he take care of Bodhi and fill his stocking? And so I say all that to say, there's so many things. I give away 4 trash bags of stuff to create space for new things. We live in a world full of things. And you know what's more important than that? Memories. Coloring with my daughter. You know what? She's not going to remember her Paw Patrol race car track. What she is going to remember at some point is the snowball fight we had in the house. What she is going to remember is coloring with mommy. What she is going to remember is making cookies with me. What she is going to remember is those things, not the things that she got. And studies show that experiences bring greater satisfaction than possessions. By the way, this is from research. Experience bring greater satisfaction than possessions. I know a family that went on a cruise for Christmas, like a 8-day cruise. Instead of getting their kids are a little bit older. Instead of getting gifts, they went on a cruise. They went on an experience. Most likely, this isn't true for everyone, but most likely your kids have pretty much everything that they could ever need, or you do. I think about my Christmas list. Family wants to know, what do you want for Christmas? And Josh and I are not living like these crazy wealthy people. But really, it was like, yeah, I mean, since I have to put something on there, I'd like some new Lululemon pants. I'd like to paint. There's this one art class that I'd like to take, and it's a pretty penny. And so like these sorts of things. I don't need anything. I have more clothes. If you're like me, you have more clothes in your closet than you'll ever wear. I yeah, need to give many of those away too. Moral of the story, I'm rambling. Memories over things. You know, next lesson, next reminder, living in the now. We're not promised tomorrow, and yesterday is gone. That's it, it's gone. And not that I don't reflect on memories that were really meaningful to me. I bring those into the now and elevate the now, make the now more powerful. But all I have is now. All I have is focusing on what's right in front of me. All I have right now is me and you hanging out, having a good chat about our lessons and our reminders of the year. It's all I have. It's all you have right now. I want to remind you to live in the now. Put the phone down, be present, focus on your senses. Maybe it's a gift that you give yourself to take a nice bath and make it smell good and feels warm. So you feel something, you smell something, maybe you're listening to something. The way that you live in the now is you engage your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What can you touch? And that's how you really engage the now. And the more that you're focused on the now, the more present life will be for you. Uh, the more that you will be able to remember things. Has anybody ever mindlessly driven? You got somewhere and you're like, I'm not exactly sure how I got here, but I did get here. That is a lack of presence. You're on autopilot. We live often our lives on autopilot. Get out of autopilot. Drive your life. Live in the now. Next, 9. It's the 9th lesson. Every day, find reasons to celebrate. Find those small, meaningful celebrations where it's like, all right, my daughter learned a new word, high five. I took a second or two off my run time, high five. That you really celebrate the wins. I still do it, by the way, to this day, what I'm about to tell you. A couple birthdays ago, was it 34? I don't even remember at this current moment. I decided I was going to run a half marathon. I don't identify as a runner, friends, but I decided I was going to do something hard for my birthday. So I ran a half marathon. And every time when I would go out and run and I was practicing basically, because my goal was not to walk, I just needed to finish, but my goal was that I would run the whole thing. I would jump high five myself. And then I would high five my husband. He ran with me often. He was a good runner. So I'd jump high five myself and then I'd high five him. And it was me celebrating me. You know, maybe you don't cook dinner very often, but this week you made dinner once. High five yourself. Celebrate it. Neurologically, when we celebrate something, it tells our brain to do more of it. So wouldn't it be better if instead of going, man, you did make dinner once, but then you're like, oh, I just don't make dinner enough. We need to eat healthier. That instead, that you're like, nailed it, Britt. You made that dinner. High five. Guess what? The brain wants to do more of it. Whatever you want to do more of, here's your sign. Celebrate when you do it rather than beating you up for when you don't. This was a lesson for me this year. This was not a reminder. This was a lesson for me. And I knew it theoretically. I knew it conceptually. And pregnancy, birth, and breastfeeding are miracles. Are absolutely miracles in every way. I mean, definitely getting pregnant felt like a miracle to me. I know that there are people that get pregnant really easy. I swear that you guys have superpowers. You're amazing to me. Getting pregnant to me was absolutely a miracle, and carrying that baby to term. Birth, even though it did not go as planned, was absolutely a miracle to me. And then I think about breastfeeding, and like breastfeeding is a miracle in and of itself. This is like further evidence to me, by the way, that there's a God, that my baby's saliva on my nipple. Yes, I said nipple on a podcast. It's fine. I'm just talking to my besties. That my baby's saliva changes the makeup of my breast milk. What? That if they're sick or there's things going around, their saliva changes the makeup of my breast milk. And breast milk changes throughout the day. It changes from feed to feed. It is absolutely amazing. It creates antibodies for if there's sickness. What in the world? All of this truly is amazing to me. And by the way, if you've never done some of these things, like I know breastfeeding doesn't work out for everyone. This isn't a commentary on whether it's good or whether it's bad or whether you should or whether you shouldn't, or some people just really struggle. You probably would go, if you really struggle, you're like, yeah, it is a miracle. Just like I think, oh my goodness, conceiving, carrying a child to term, wow, what a miracle. And I didn't really think that I would want to breastfeed or like it. Maybe it would be good for you to write a thank you letter to your body. Maybe you look at your body and you're mean to it. If I got sagging skin, unfortunately, and I got these my belly was huge. I've got these massive stretch marks, and they're never going to go away. I'm going to carry them with me for the rest of my life. And that wasn't my plan, but my body, genetics, whatever, I get stretch marks. And instead of beating myself up about it, what I can do is say thank you. And maybe you tangibly, friend, if this is you, maybe you need to tangibly write a letter to your body just saying thank you. 11. Ask for help when you need it. Ask for help when you need it. I'm going to say it again. Ask for help when you need it. We have this common misconception that people can read our minds. Friend, I got so passionate, I just hit myself with my microphone. Friend, no one can read your mind. No one can read your mind. Even people that are really great at reading people still can't read your mind. They don't know what it is exactly that you want. And sometimes, by the way, this is for you, this is for someone. You think that you're really great at it, but you also grew up in a family where there was trauma. You grew up in a family where there were some expectations. So you had not good expectations. You grew up having to read people to survive, but often people like that also misread. They think that they're spot on, whatever the meaning of the face, whatever it is that they're reading. They think it's right. I've had this happen so many times in my office where I'm like, what do you think they're thinking? And they say it, and the person's like, that could not be the furthest from the truth. But they think that they're great at reading people as a survival mechanism. I just squirreled. I'm coming back. Ask for help when you need it. People cannot read your mind. And if you're in a difficult season, ask for help. Sometimes we have friends, people, it's like people are sick or whatever, and you reach out and you're like, hey, can I do anything for you? Can I bring you any food? And you say no. When in reality, if somebody brought you a warm meal, it would be epic. Say yes and ask for help when you need it. We are created for community. We thrive in community. We do better in community. Ask for help when you need it. And by the way, I'm preaching to myself. This is a lesson for me. Ask for help when you need it. Number 12. And there's only 14, so I'm almost done with my lessons. Number 12. Choose to fight through the hard times. I wish that we didn't have them. I wish that we didn't have struggle moments. I wish that we didn't have hard times. I wouldn't have a job. That would be fine. But I wish that we didn't have them. But we do. And when we have grit, it's a predictor of success. When we're resilient, it's a predictor of success. You must fight through hard times. But fight for what you want. Fight for who you're becoming. I go back to writing down your dreams. This is why this is so important. Fight for what you want. Fight through the hard times. Because it's not hard forever. You have to see things as seasons. Seasons are not forever. Yeah, I know. In Texas, seasons kind of blend a little bit, but let's think about a place that really does have true seasons. Seasons are not forever. They are just for right now. Singleness is a season. Pregnancy is a season. Your kids at a certain age are a season. The struggles with your kids at that age are a season. Sometimes you move and you're in a totally different season, or you had some friends and now you change things in your life and you don't have those friends anymore and you don't really even feel like you have any friends. That's a season. As long as you make it a season, you'd have to make choices to make more friends. but things are seasons. You just need to see things as, all right, this is how it is today. My marriage is really hard today. My kids are really hard today. But tomorrow, a month from now, 5 years from now, it's going to be better. Newsflash to you. I had a very tough season as a teenager. My mom, by the way, she is a wonderful human. And in my teenage years, I thought my mom was like the bride of Satan, which is extreme and wrong. You know who the problem was? Me. That was the problem. And I'm thankful that my mom was aware that this is just a season. This is not for right now. And she fought for me and she fought for our relationship. She's a wonderful human. She fight through the hard times. I wouldn't still be married if I didn't fight through the hard times. I wouldn't have children if I didn't fight through the hard times. And those are really big things. I wouldn't have a doctorate if I didn't fight through the hard times. It was hard. Don't even ask me. I'm not even go down that path. Fight through the hard times. It's worth it. Every time it's worth it. Number 13. And this is akin to 12. There's a price for what you want. There's a price for it. I think about the hit that I have taken financially in order to have children and to keep having them because we still got more coming. There's a price for what you want. I think about, maybe my student loans would be fully paid off. Maybe we'd have a couple rent homes, maybe whatever. There's a price for what you want. There's a price for my doctorate. There's a price. I paid a price for my marriage. Now I have the marriage of my dreams, but I paid a price for that dream. And you have to recognize that often in order to achieve your goals, in order to have the life that you want to have, friend, you have to put in effort. It doesn't just happen. I don't know anyone that has anything meaningful in their life that just happened to them. Now, maybe, and I've never done research on this. This is just my, perspective. That most, it's like, all right, well, maybe being a trust fund baby would be so great. Yeah, but generational wealth is often lost in kids that never had to earn it, never paid a price for it. You have to earn it. You need to work for it. There is sacrifice for meaningful goals. If you want to be a more fit version of yourself, you're going to have to sacrifice some of the foods, at least in the quantities that you used to eat them, that you love. There's a price to pay for what you want. And you can have pretty much what you want as long as you're willing to pay the price for it. So you really need to think about, friend, what you're willing, what you must give up to achieve your dreams. And finally, do what you love. Do what you love. You must align your actions with your passions. When you do this, you do actually create joy and fulfillment in your life. If you're watching me, there's this wild painting behind me. It almost looks like some sort of graffiti thing with pinks and greens and blues, and it's super messy. I painted it. I did what I love. And I will also probably change it out eventually. I got, when you paint, you just change the art in your house. But it is something that I love. It creates so much joy and fulfillment for me. I love sitting with people. I love watching people heal, especially when they heal rapidly. It's even better for me. I love watching it happen. It creates more joy, more fulfillment in my life than I could ever tell you. Being with my children, playing, doing silly stuff, snuggling them creates joy and fulfillment. Do what you love. Friend, do what you love. Those are my lessons. Those are my reminders of this year. Now, this part really isn't going to be as long, but I'm going to just share some ideas with you as to what you need to do to achieve your dreams, to hit those goals. So first, I really want you to recognize, and you've probably heard me say it, that your unconscious mind is your goal getter and your conscious mind is your goal setter. And your conscious mind, your goal setter, is about 5% of your overall thinking, whereas your unconscious mind, your goal getter, is 95%. And in order to go get those dreams, those goals that you want, you actually really need to practice visualization. You need to really prime your unconscious mind for success by thinking on, meditating, repeating what it is that you want, that you're going to go get. You need to see it, you need to feel it, you need to experience it in your own mind. It's wild because the brain also doesn't really know the difference between fantasy and reality. That is a conversation for another time, but there are so many psychological theories that lean on that the brain doesn't actually know the difference. You need to imagine, dream, see it to help it come to fruition. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it at that. Then, habit stack. This comes from James Clear's Atomic Habits. If you've never read that book and you're like, I need to create some new habits in my life, I really encourage you to read Atomic Habits. It is so good. But he has this concept of habit stacking. So it's creating a new habit, adding a habit to one that you already do already. So let's say that you're like, you know what, this year I need to take vitamins. Guess what? Brush your teeth every morning. Hopefully that's part of your routine. Then you habit stack. You add your vitamins in after. Maybe you are like, all right, I want to start meditating, Brittany. You keep telling me to visualize. So I want to start meditating. Well, guess what? Maybe after you brush your teeth at nighttime, I'm just using brushing your teeth. Maybe after you brush your teeth at nighttime, the very next thing that you do is meditate for 5 minutes. You visualize for 5 minutes. You set your brain's intention on wherever you want it to go. If you're like, oh man, I need to be better at praying. Well, guess what? If you commute or you go to work, even if you sit in your own office, the first thing you do when you sit down, like that's your habit stack. You sit down in your chair, then you pray before you open your laptop. Or maybe you pray while you're driving. Whatever it is, you habit stack. And I have found this to be so successful in my own life because it's not like I'm trying to just start this new habit out of nowhere and figure out where to incorporate it into my life. I just add it into things that I already do. So I encourage you to do that. You heard me say this in my reminders and lessons, but you need to celebrate the small wins. That the more that you celebrate those small wins, again, the brain is like, I want more of it. I want more of it. I love that. That was great. So if you're like, man, I need to drink 100 ounces of water a day, every time that you fill your cup up, you're like, heck yeah, ooh, ooh, you do a happy dance, you high five yourself. Then you do it again. Then you fill it up and you're like, hey girl, that was good. Nailed it. Hey girl, that was good. Nailed it. And then it becomes a part because your brain is looking for more of the good and it will keep doing it. The more you celebrate it, it will keep doing it. Now, I did not come up with this idea. Matt Davella has a 2-day rule. And the 2-day rule says, never let 2 days go between progress and your goal. Never let 2 days go between progress and your goal. All right, you got off your eating plan. No problem. Get back on the next day. You were supposed to make five cold calls and you didn't do it. All right, no problem. Get back on the wagon the next day. Don't let 2 days go between your progress for your goal. I think that's so simple. I love the 2-day rule. You committed to yourself that you were going to work out every day. You're going to move your body every day. You didn't today. No problem. Do it tomorrow. Now, There is a psychological theory that tomorrow never comes, but when you operate by the 2-day rule, you're like, all right, well, I didn't yesterday, so I must today. I didn't yesterday, so I must today. And you are operating by that 2-day rule. And I would encourage you to use like, I must today, whatever it is, I must today. Or if you know you're not going to work out tomorrow, you must today, because you can't let 2 days go between your progress and your goal. I would also encourage you whenever you're trying to create and do new things in your life, like sit down and write this out. What barriers could get in the way? So I'm using working out as an example. There are so many other things. What could get in the way? Well, I prefer to work out in the morning and not the evening. I'm talking about myself. So I'm gonna kind of just like talk this out with you. I prefer to work out in the morning and not the evening because I really like an empty stomach when I work out. I don't know, if I move too much, it makes me want to barf, and I don't like that feeling. So I prefer to work out in the morning, not the evening. That would be a barrier. If I don't do it in the morning, I'm less likely to do it in the evening. If I had poor sleep the night before, like I didn't go to bed when I knew I needed to go to bed, then that's going to be a barrier to my success. If my little nuggets, both of my little cutums, if they are up, I am less likely to work out. So those are barriers. So if I know that those are barriers, then I need to get in front of those barriers. That means I need to go to bed at a certain time. I might need my husband to do, because he works out at noon. I might need him to do the nighttime feed if our little boy wakes up. I need to schedule. I need to put it on my schedule and make sure that I've worked out by this time so I can get my day going. You need to create a plan for the barriers. I also encourage you to time block. Put it in your calendar. Say this is the time that I do X, Y, and Z. This is the time I'm just using workout. This is the time that I work out. Put it in your calendar. I wouldn't not show up for a client, so I need to not. That's a lot of nots. I need to make sure that I don't not show up for myself. I show up for myself in the same way that I show up for my clients. And by the way, there's some sort of energy synergy that you create when you are actually doing what you tell other people to do. I tell my students all the time, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't heal the stuff that needs to heal, you're going to have a hard time helping other people heal. You got to do what you say. You got to keep your promises to yourself. And finally, get some accountability, get some support. Get community. Yep. Don't do it alone. We were created for community. Don't do it alone. And it might not be that you're doing it with them, but they're at least holding you accountable for doing it. Friend, thanks for being with me today. This is a little bit longer episode than normal, but 2024 had so many great reminders and lessons for me just about gratitude and resilience, and really the power of living in alignment with my own values. So, as we step into 2025 together, let's carry these lessons forward. Let's approach our goals with intention, with creativity, with courage, with passion. Best friend, you've got this. You've got this. You're not alone. You are not alone. As per my usual, I'm gonna ask you some questions, but I also want to just give you a reminder. I want to I want to call you to action in this way. I want you to reflect on your lessons, on your reminders of 2024. Reflect on them. Really sit down, let them flow out of you. You know, something that I did to help me remember as I just scrolled through the pictures on my phone. That was a great way to just really jog my brain of this is where I was at this time doing this thing. So I want to ask you some questions. First, what are 3 lessons from 2024 that you want to carry into the new year? Second, what goal have you been dreaming about, but you haven't acted on yet? I want you to think about the answer to that as you answer the next one. What barriers might be standing in your way? And how can you address them ahead of time? How can you address them now? Number 4, how can you make your daily habits align with your long-term goals? And 5, what small step can you take today to move closer to your dreams? Today. Tomorrow never comes. Today. What small step can you take today to move closer to your dreams? Friend, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, or I got something stuck in there. Friend, thanks for spending time with me today. Here's if I had, my cranberry fizz poppy in my hand. That's what I want to be drinking right now. Here's to a powerful, purpose-filled 2025. I want to hear about all the amazing things that you accomplish. Message me on Instagram and tell me. If you got my number, text me. I want to know about the things that you're accomplishing. Let's do this together. Let's have our best year yet, friend. Big hugs. Until next week.